Okay, welcome to Bonsai Journey. What I'm going to do today is show you how to turn this acer campestre saplings into a small forest planting. I collected these a few years ago. They were just tiny little seedlings, and they've been in this pot for about 3 years. They didn't grow very much the last 2 years. And they got knocked out of the pot by birds a couple of times, so they're not sort of neatly spaced like they used to. I don't know how I'm going to talk for 10 minutes for this video, to be honestly. I'm going to start off by obviously wiring each one individually, which is quite tricky because they're all obviously quite tightly spaced. There's no point in wiring them and placing them, styling them at the same time, because you have to wait. You'll just bump into them all. You'll see as I'm wiring them all, bump into all the others as I go. I'm sort of starting off with the thinner ones, and then I work up with thicker gauge wire to the bigger ones. You'll see I'm not applying the wire that tight, and I'm not paying that much attention to making sure it's equally spaced. It's just to get some style into them, so they're not deadly straight sticks in the ground. At the moment, I haven't really got too many plans for the tree. I don't want to make them any taller than about probably 4 inches, 4.5 inches. So about the size they are now is where the canopies will be. At the end of this year, or the growing season this year, I cut some of them back, and you can see they're sort of pushing buds at the tips. So hopefully that will also, it's caused some back budding, so you can see some of the buds pushing back further towards the trunks. I'm not really caring too much about cutting the wire off the ends and tidying it up, because at the moment it's such early stage development. It's just extra time that I didn't really want to spend on them. They're obviously very cheap acer campestres. In the UK here, they grow like weeds in forests and things, or in your garden if you're lucky. I think some of the wire I put on them wasn't thick enough. You might be able to see one of the ones third from the right. It's some of them didn't bend that much when it comes to styling them. Essentially because the wire was too thin, but all of them have got some shape into them. Initially, when I planted them, I did pick the biggest ones in the middle, but because they've been knocked over by birds a couple of times, it has ended up changing. And I did previously go at it with chopsticks and neatly separate them all into nice little gaps. But then when the birds knocked them over, I sort of lost the motivation to do that more than twice. You can see as I get the wire on each one, they're separating nicely. I think that's just generally where I left them, because I needed to make a bit of space for each one as I wired it. I wasn't intentional. I think going forward, the ones that are thicker towards the outside, I will just leave them. I'll leave it like a sort of natural forest. I'm not going to put too much work into making sure each one is exactly slightly bigger than the other, moving out from the centre. Forests aren't perfect in real life, so I don't expect them to be here either. I was filming this inside because it's winter and it's dark outside, so I tried to use some lamps and things to get the lighting a bit better. So obviously I've zoomed in a bit here so you can see the actual styling a bit better, and there'll be a few minutes of styling left in the video. I didn't want to leave it running too long. I sort of cut out all the time I was working on them where you couldn't see behind my hands. I cut those out because there's nothing to gain from you seeing that. This first one, funnily enough, I sort of like snapped it in the middle. I did go back and unbend it and put some cut paste on, so I didn't break them all. It was just, fortunately, the first one was much more brittle than I was expecting. But there you go. It might live, it might die. There's quite a lot in there. It doesn't really matter. I suppose I should have sort of tested the pliability of them a bit better. I think the wire was quite thick on that one, so I was feeling the resistance in the wire but not actually the branch, so that's why it just snapped straight away. I'm starting at the outside and I'm going to work my way round because that creates the space. If you see most sort of bonsai forests, the trees don't go dead straight. They sort of lean outwards a little bit over towards the edge. So as I work round, you'll see that it creates space for the other ones. I think I wired them generally similarly. Some of them I wired clockwise and some of them I wired anti-clockwise, and obviously I'm trying to bend them in the direction that the wire coils, because that's what you're supposed to do. Otherwise it loosens the wire as you tighten it if you twist opposite to the direction of the way the wire's curled. Some of them I think I come back to bend a bit. That one I just left, it wasn't really holding its shape very well. So as I'm going around, like you can see, I'm just making space for all of the other ones. There are some tiny ones on the outside, like the one I was just bending there. It makes it sort of more interesting if they vary in size. It's not really about the thickness of the trunks at this point. It's just about having a good group planting. These middle ones were much trickier to bend, and I didn't want them leaning too far over. So although there are sort of too many near the middle, a lot of them I left generally pointing up. I was sort of experimenting with the different types of bends. So you can see there, I was just sort of pulling it down just to see what shape is it holding any shape in the wire. It wasn't holding too much shape in the wire, so that's why with this one I was a bit more forceful, just to get a little bit of shape into it. Well, I'm fine with that middle one being sort of less interesting. And all of them, you don't just want to put the same sort of S shape into all of them. So I'm sort of thinking, oh, if I bend this one this way, it will make space for that one, and so forth. Not very neat wiring there. I had to redo that bit to get it to hold near the top. Especially getting lower trunk movement in a lot of these, you'll see the lower you get the movement in a tree, the better. If it's just a straight stick that comes up 3 or 4 inches and then bends from there on, it doesn't look very good, in my opinion. And whilst they're tiny, is the best time to get the movement. Sorry about that. I didn't realise the camera didn't focus. There'll be not glamour shots, but in slightly better lighting against a white backdrop. I'll show you what it looks like at the end. From the side profile, it looks quite nice. Oh, there's the aerial. Sorry. So to show you the sort of spacing and how a lot of them come from near the middle, but are leaning out. That's the goal. And here you go. I'll get it on the stand. Give it a little spin. I'll probably put it high up on one of the shelves so you can see it from sort of eye level angle. And I'll leave these wires on until early next year, where I'll take them off. Thank you for watching anyway. I'll put out some more bonsai videos soon. First of many.